The entire Windsor crisis did not explode because of a scandalous interview, a leaked letter, or some dramatic palace betrayal shouted behind gilded doors. It exploded over one forbidden word: grandmother. And the person who refused to surrender that word was not Prince William, not Catherine, not some angry courtier still loyal to Diana's memory, but 9-year-old Princess Charlotte. Sitting at what was supposed to be an ordinary private family lunch, calmly pulling the royal mask off a wound the palace had spent years trying to cover. At first, everything looked controlled. King Charles was there, William and Catherine had arrived with all 3 children, and Camilla was keeping the conversation deliberately light. Almost too light. The way someone does when they already knows the air in the room is fragile. No one wanted drama. No one wanted Diana's ghost at the table. No one wanted another reminder that private royal meals can be more dangerous than public ceremonies. But then, Camilla casually placed herself inside the children's grandparent generation. And Charlotte looked up with a quietness that was more devastating than anger. She did not shout. She did not cry. She did not behave like a child being difficult. She simply said she already knew who her grandmothers were, and she would not call Camilla grandmother. That was the moment the room changed. No gasp, no interruption, no quick rescue from Catherine, no nervous laugh from William, just silence. A thick, royal silence. The kind that says everyone has heard the truth, but nobody knows who is allowed to answer it. And that silence was the first clue. Because if Charlotte had merely been rude, someone would have corrected her instantly. If this had been childish defiance, the adults would have smoothed it over. But nobody moved. Camilla froze. Charles looked stunned. William watched his daughter instead of reprimanding her. Catherine did not rush to protect Camilla from the embarrassment. The room understood something before anyone said it aloud. Charlotte was not inventing a problem. She was revealing one. Charles, caught between grandfather and monarch, asked why she had said it. His voice stayed low. But the question carried the full weight of a king expecting order to return. What he received instead was a second blow. Charlotte answered that some family names have to be earned by how people make you feel. Then, she asked to leave the table. Catherine nodded, and when Charlotte pushed her chair back, the scrape against the floor sounded louder than anything spoken that afternoon. That chair scrape became the sound of the power shift. Camilla, who had survived headlines, hostility, comparisons, and decades of public judgment, suddenly faced rejection from inside the family circle she had fought so hard to enter. Charles stared toward William, realizing no palace command, no crown, no protocol, and no title could force a child to feel affection. William's reaction made the moment even more dangerous. He was not angry at Charlotte. He was studying her, as though he already suspected the sentence had roots. When Catherine followed Charlotte into the corridor, the real story began. This was not about one lunch. This was not about a spoiled child refusing manners. Charlotte had been carrying something for weeks, and the word grandmother had only triggered what was already waiting beneath the surface. Catherine sat with her daughter and did not begin with discipline. She asked what grandmother meant to her. Charlotte's answer came slowly. Trust, safety, stories. Someone who makes you feel protected, not pressured. That answer cut through the palace like a blade. Because inside monarchy, words like queen, heir, consort, and duty are managed like machinery. But to Charlotte, family words were not machinery. They were emotional truth. And Catherine understood immediately that turning her daughter's feelings into a performance would only deepen the damage. Meanwhile, in another room, Camilla was wounded from the opposite direction. Telling Charles she could endure hostile headlines and years of being compared to Diana, but she could not pretend his granddaughter's rejection meant nothing. Charles tried to reassure her, but then came the tiny hesitation that exposed everything. He almost said Charlotte would come around, but paused before the words fully landed. That pause mattered. Camilla felt it. Charles knew it, because deep down, even the king understood that the younger generation represented something coronations could not grant: private belonging. Camilla had the title, the crown, the place beside Charles. What she did not have, and could not command, was Charlotte's chosen intimacy. Then William asked Catherine the question both had been avoiding. Did Charlotte mention Diana? Catherine confirmed their daughter had become curious about the grandmother she never knew, especially after seeing photographs and hearing memories from William. But then came the more disturbing revelation. Charlotte was not rejecting Camilla because Diana had been turned into a perfect myth in her mind. Charlotte was reacting to something Camilla had said weeks earlier. Something small enough for adults to dismiss, but sharp enough for a child to carry in silence. The incident happened during a private family heritage presentation at Windsor, away from public ceremony, where photographs and personal objects from earlier generations were being discussed. William had kept Diana's memory simple, tender, and personal. He described her as their grandmother, spoke about her warmth, and never used the past as a weapon against anyone living. Charlotte paused beside one photograph and quietly called her grandmother Diana. Then Camilla entered, heard it, hesitated, and told the young princess she should not become too attached to people she never knew when she had family around her now. The sentence was calm. The effect was not. Charlotte looked down, closed the little album, and asked William if they could continue another day. William knew something had shifted, but even he did not know the full damage yet. Later, he told Camilla his daughter was old enough to understand tone, but far too young to carry decades of family pain. Camilla insisted she had only wanted Charlotte grounded in the present. But there was another moment nobody knew about. Charlotte had left the room, then returned quietly because she had forgotten a bracelet. Before entering fully, she heard Camilla telling an aide that constant references to Diana could become confusing for the children. The aide said little, but Charlotte heard enough. To her, the meaning felt brutally clear. Remembering her grandmother was becoming a problem other people wanted managed. So she said nothing. She did not confront Camilla. She did not run to William. She simply reached a private conclusion. If accepting one grandmother meant weakening the place of another, she would refuse the newer name completely. When Charlotte finally told William about the forgotten bracelet, he lowered his eyes and placed the family photograph in his hand, face down on the desk. That gesture said what words could not. The Windsor lunch was no longer a childish outburst. It was the final consequence of an emotional decision Charlotte had been forming in silence for weeks. By evening, the issue was no longer whether Charlotte had behaved badly. William wanted to know why his daughter had been put in a position where defending a dead grandmother felt necessary. And that is when the confrontation moved from wounded feelings to royal power. William did not summon advisors. He did not request a formal family meeting. He asked Camilla to speak privately, waited until the door closed, and made sure Charles was not in the room. That absence mattered. If Charles had been present, the exchange would have become about rank, royal precedence, and protecting the Queen's dignity. William wanted none of that. This was not about who outranked Charlotte. This was about who had the right to define her private feelings. Camilla arrived expecting pressure to repair the humiliation at Windsor. Instead, she found a father who believed his daughter had been carrying a burden created by adults. William recounted the photograph, the forgotten bracelet, and the remark Charlotte overheard. Then he asked the question Camilla had been dreading. Did she tell anyone that remembering Diana was confusing for the children? Camilla answered carefully, saying the comment was never intended for Charlotte to hear. William's expression hardened. Intention, he told her, does not erase impact. That was the line that changed the room. Because William was no longer negotiating etiquette. He was naming consequence. Charlotte now believed accepting Camilla emotionally would mean betraying Diana. Camilla's restraint finally cracked. She admitted that hearing Diana discussed could make her feel as though there was no emotional space left for anyone else, as though every memory of Diana was another comparison she could never win. But William did not retreat. His daughter was never asking Camilla to compete. Instead of bringing peace, however, the decision created distance. Camilla quietly began withdrawing from optional family gatherings whenever Charlotte was expected. Empty chairs replaced uncomfortable conversations. Catherine worried Charlotte would blame herself. William feared something even worse, that his daughter would begin believing adults disappeared because of her choices. Charlotte noticed every absence. She asked whether Camilla was angry. Catherine gently explained that adults were responsible for their own feelings, not children. Yet behind the palace walls, the emotional gap kept growing. Every missed family tea, every declined invitation, every quiet withdrawal became another clue that the Windsor lunch had changed far more than a single conversation. Realizing the divide could not continue, Catherine helped arrange one final private meeting. No advisors. No photographers, no Charles, no William speaking for Charlotte. This time, only Charlotte and Camilla sat together. Charlotte placed Diana's photograph on the table and quietly admitted she believed Camilla wanted her to stop loving the grandmother she had never met. For the first time, Camilla did not defend herself. She apologized directly for saying Charlotte should not become attached to someone she never knew, and admitted that her own insecurities had spoken louder than her judgment. Charlotte accepted the apology, but never changed her decision. She still preferred calling her Camilla in private while using the proper royal title during official occasions. Surprisingly, Camilla accepted that boundary without argument. It was the first time she chose understanding over expectation. Days later, the family appeared together again outside Windsor. Cameras immediately searched for signs of victory or defeat. Instead of embracing Camilla, Charlotte politely offered her hand. Newspapers instantly branded it royal distance, while television commentators called it proof the family remained divided. But the public misunderstood the moment completely. The handshake was not rejection. It was the compromise Charlotte and Camilla had quietly reached behind closed doors. Charles briefly considered issuing a palace clarification, but William opposed exposing Charlotte's private emotions to satisfy public curiosity. In another unexpected turn, Camilla agreed with William. For the first time, protecting Charlotte mattered more than repairing her own image. As another family gathering approached, something subtle changed. Charlotte greeted Camilla naturally. Camilla stopped waiting for the word grandmother, and instead focused on building something that did not depend on titles. Charles finally relaxed, not because the conflict had disappeared, but because nobody was pretending anymore. The monarchy had discovered that respect could exist without forced affection, and that family loyalty could not be manufactured through protocol alone. But inside royal circles, one question refused to disappear. If a 9-year-old princess could quietly redraw emotional boundaries the king himself would not cross, what happens when Charlotte grows older, George becomes heir, and a new generation begins deciding which royal traditions they will preserve and which ones they will simply refuse to inherit? That answer may become the next battle Windsor is forced to fight.